Hey trackies, welcome back to another video. Please remember to smash the subscribe button. Clearly I'm rebuilding, so smash it off. Also hit the like, that's how the video gets to the algorithm, so smash that like button. Comment away. My gosh, you guys commented a lot yesterday and I read, my eyes filled, right? And also trackies as well. Please share the content if you care. Now, before we get into anything, spicy, let me just say Happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful mothers out there. I'm wishing you a well rested day. But I think sometimes that's what, mothers need rest, right? And of course, you get all the love that you deserve. Now, let's jump into the world release and track is. I didn't think things would get any worse, but yeah, it seems as though things got much worse today. So, before we get into the bad, let's start with the good. Let's start with the good. Let's start do exactly what we did yesterday and start with the good. And it's actually the first event that went off today, the mixed 4x1 finals. We're going in. We stood a chance of winning, a strong, strong shot of winning, especially after seeing the team that we constructed sending to, the world relays. I was like, okay, this is good enough. Now, I did make some suggestions as it relates to potentially switching out one of the athletes. That was Rashid Foster. So we went in with Natasha Morris and Crystal Slowly. We went in with Javari Thomas and, of course, Rashid Foster. Based on what I saw, I said, guess what? We can strengthen the team. We can add a brand level to strengthen the team. Nothing personal, guys. I do not want you to take anything personal. I have nothing personal against Rashid Foster. So for that commenter that thinks I was biased to Rashid Foster, no. There's nothing wrong with strengthening the team. Think about it from a team perspective. And I think that is why we are failing because we're not thinking about the relays from a team perspective. We're thinking about it from an individual basis and see there, every turn we buck up in a problem. Now, that being said, I'm still in a celebratory mood for the team because they did well. So in the finals, they actually brought out Serena Cole and Brian Lavelle. Now I was a bit concerned and well, not really concerned, but I was questioning in my mind why they brought in a Serena Cole over Natasha Morrison, given the fact that I thought Natasha did absolutely superb on her first leg. But I understood why after the fact. So I was like, okay, I get it now, right? So Serena Cole to Crystal Sodi to Javari Thomas to Rashid to Brian Lavelle. Sorry, they finished second trackies, winning the silver medal in the inaugural mixed 4x1. Excited for them. Happy. Congratulations to our athletes. And a job well done. A job well done. Given, of course, that it's the first time, many of these athletes will be competing at this level, for Team Jamaica coming into a new event as well, females to males. I saw the stretch and the reach for Crystal Slowly to Javari Thomas, and they made it happen again. And I love the effort put in, especially again after the fact of finding out that everything was going downhill for Jamaica later on in the day yesterday. I'm sure they came in with probably more pressure, on them to execute. And for such a young team to be able to pull it off, hats off to them. They ran a 40.44 seconds. I'm really, really excited for these young athletes and the future that it holds for them competing for Jamaica, whether it be on men's 4x1s, women's 4x1s, or maybe a mixed 4x1 or individually. These athletes are really coming out and showing that they're really the next wave. And yeah, as I said, I'm thankful and appreciative. Brian Lavelle wasn't able to run down, the final Canadian athlete, and Canada did walk away with the win. But that's okay. That's okay because I did think, given everything that I saw, that it was really good overall for Team Jamaica. So yeah, as I said, silver. Congratulations to our athletes on this achievement. Now things took a little bit of a nosedive, trackies, after that when we talk about what was to come because the mixed 4x4 was up next and I already set the expectations going into the event that, don't expect too much. It ended up looking worse than I actually thought it would look yesterday. But I have to say, today they really did try. They restructured the team a bit, and the effort was shown that the athletes were really trying to qualify. But unfortunately, them still no qualifier trackies, and I don't even think I'm upset at them because sometimes we just have to be realistic. We have to be realistic with our expectations. Like the athletes that were sent to compete in the 4x4s, especially from a female perspective, were not the strongest. Some of them were sprinters. You know what I mean? And just looking at it, I'm like, okay, let's just deal with it. as it comes. As I said, it looked worse yesterday, but I also think it's a reminder that the rest of the world is also catching up, because I saw somebody complaining online that we lost out to a China in this mixed 4x4. So we were fourth overall, right, finishing behind Spain, Germany, and China. And somebody was complaining and saying, "Hey, I can't believe we lost out to a China." And I'm thinking the rest of the world is catching up, guys. Wake up! I don't know what era y'all are living in, but the rest of the world is catching up, and Jamaica needs to come to reality and face the facts and turn up with strong enough teams that will be able to qualify us, and not just look at everybody and look down on every other team and thinking, "Meh, you're not good enough. We're just gonna turn up with a mediocre team." Well, I don't really want to call the athletes mediocre, because me not think say I really feel them fault at the end of the day, because what about the other athletes that were faster? Did they make themselves available? You know what I mean? So we can't just turn up with any team and think that we're just gonna walk everybody. That's not going to happen. So unfortunately, we didn't qualify. We're gonna figure out no how we're gonna find an event to compete at, where they have mixed relays going on to try to qualify a mixed relay team, or hopefully we have one of the last two fastest times that will be able to qualify us to the world championships, right? So as things stand right now, only two spots are available. We need to get one of those two spots, or Jamaica will not have a mixed 4x4 team at the World Championships. Really, really tough indeed. And, when I was thinking things couldn't get any worse, yeah, it got worse, right? Team Jamaica pulled out of the women's 4x4. Now, honestly, the writing was on the wall. The writing was on the wall. So, as I said, we can't even complain. Even though it got worse, right? I can't even complain because the writing was on the wall. Looking at the team realistically heading to the World Championships, I was thinking to myself, or the World Relay, sorry, I was thinking to myself, what are we expecting to do with these athletes from a 400-meter perspective, right? And it got bad. We saw Jordan Williams yesterday running with an injury, and I thought to myself, who did this? Who put Jordan out there visibly injured, right? And I'm hearing now that she is indeed injured. So clearly, team not good enough, to qualify. So they pulled out, or may not even have enough manpower, given the fact that it seems as though they streamlined the best people they could over to the mixed 4x4 to try to at least qualify those athletes, and they still didn't qualify. So yeah, things got from bad to worse when it came to the 4x4s. Luckily, in a saving grace moment, the men came up in the 4x4 and they did what was required. No, last year we saw where they did not qualify, and track is they went to meeting upon meeting upon meeting to try to qualify, and it never worked out. Them all rescheduled 400 meters at the trials, and it's still no workout. We still no qualify. So to see them come out here and qualify trackies, I'm really ecstatic. No, it's interesting because when I think about me doing videos and the things I talk about, it's funny how when things come to pass, how interesting it is. But anyway, trackies, interestingly, I missed this race. I felt like I was gonna lose my screws. The internet just bugged out right then and there, and I was demanding everybody to get offline. I was like, I need to be the only person using the internet right now. Yeah, I missed the whole race. I missed the whole race, but from what I can see, based on what's happening on paper, I think things went how I was hoping they would go from a yesterday perspective. Now, if you remember yesterday, which is why I'm saying make sure to watch my video then, because sometimes skip out bits and pieces and you don't get the full context, right? I was saying we should have put Rasheen on first, right? And I did believe that Zandrian got boxed in, but I believe that he could have given us a stronger leg. And, seeing what happened, now I'm thinking to myself, thank God. Thank God it worked out how I thought it would work out, because if he never do track his child, they would have probably beat up Rasheen right now. But anyway, so Rasheen was on the first leg, and he's handed over to Demar Francis. So they switched out another athlete and added Demar Francis. That was the athlete that competed in the mixed 4x4, then to Zandrian Barnes, then to Tyrese Roden. So we had a 46.09 split to a 45.61 split to a 44.78 split to a 45.52 split. So Tyrese stepped up his game. Clearly, as I said, Zandrian Barnes stepped up his game. Demar Francis as well. And out the blocks, you always are going to expect that, Rasheen will be slightly slower than everybody else. But I think he performed just as well as he did, yesterday. It's just that it didn't appear that way because, again, he's not he doesn't run his best as far as I'm concerned when it comes to running in the middle of a relay. And he's better out of the blocks. And I think they made the right decision by putting him back on the start. And it flowed. It flowed. I'm excited. As I said, I didn't really see the race, so these are just my assumptions. When I actually see the race, hopefully later on, then I'll be able to see exactly what went down. But yeah, they qualified. They finished third, and they ran a 3 minutes 02 seconds on the nose track is to qualify. So second team qualified. So yesterday we qualified the women in the 4x1, and now we qualified the men in the 4x4. So we have two teams now that are qualified to compete at the World Championships. Now, Chakis, onto the event that I don't even know how to explain this. Like, no amount of salt and bad luck cannot explain what happened and what transpired to Team Jamaica in the men's 4x100 meters. But overall, I really want to first say speedy recovery to Julian Fort. And also, I know the athletes are gutted, just like all the fans are gutted. I saw the pain. I looked at Kishane Thompson's face, and you could see visible pain. You saw Yohan Blake rubbing his head. You could see that the athletes were hurting from this disappointment. So, me not gonna add to it no more when it comes to potentially bashing them, because maybe people want to bash them. When it comes to injury, guys, you cannot foresee injury. You cannot foresee injury. And it was just painful overall for the athletes. So we had that strong team yet again come out. So it was the same team. Nothing changed. So it was Rohan Watson to Julian Fort to Yohan Blake to Kishane Thompson. Yesterday they didn't qualify. The change between Julian Fort and Johan Blake never materialized. And based on my observation, I was like, I do believe that you should keep your hands still. Even if you're thinking that the button should reach at a particular time and you haven't gotten it, even if you're slowing down, make sure that you keep your hand as still as possible so that the incoming runner can pass you the button. Plus, also have faith and trust, in your teammate that they'll get the job done, right? That's my view and my opinion, and I don't really think it changed even after rewatching the race, right? And again, a few people have different, views on that. Now, today, though, Rohan Watson got a great start, even better than he did yesterday, into Julian Fort. Julian Fort was off like a rocket, and I'm like, yes, Jamaica is doing the thing. And about, uh, 20 meters from the changeover to a Johan Blake, injury literally struck. And I'm like, I'm screaming, Jesus, Jesus, no. Like, that's literally me. Jesus, Jesus, no. This whole race I'm watching or whatever is transpiring, I'm like, Jesus, Jesus, no. Right? They say when you're in trouble, you call on Jesus. I literally had to at that particular point in time because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And then, Julian Ford, to his credit, tried to still hand over the baton. And it's not something I suggest athletes do because it could worsen the injury, but he still tried. Johan Blake, tried to receive it, and it never really materialized at the end of the day. Now, Johan Blake did take his eyes off Julian Ford for a second, and I definitely thought that he shouldn't have taken his eyes off him, given the fact that he was visibly about to, fall over on the track. So he realizes that Julian Fort is still trying to pass him the baton. He's looking at him, and then he's like, okay, well, he's coming. Okay, good, good, I can go. So he turns away, and in the moment he turns away, track is the moment Julian Fort end up a dirty because Jul- Johan Blake goes off a little bit too quickly, right? And yeah, I thought he probably could have just, kept his eye on him and waited a bit and just try to get it. But honestly, guys, given the fact that the whole button slowed down, I don't know if Jamaica would have even finished in top two. So it's just one of those weird things that happened. And as I said, it happened. And I can't even explain, what kind of crash is this? Can I not even think a crash is this? This is something else, man. This is something else. But as I said, I could see the pain from the athletes and the disappointment from them. So when I think I go bash them, trackies, and I don't think they deserve bashing as well. To be fair, I don't think they deserve bashing. All I will say is that given the strength of the team, them can find one Diamond League someplace and go run and qualify. They can definitely get into, the last two spots to qualify for the World Championships because only two spots are available. 14, a whole 14 were taken from the World Relays. So even if a team is slower than you or not as good as you, they're not gonna get in because you never got the button around, unfortunately. So it's just one of those things. Team Jamaica, It was rough. It was a rough watch, trackies. It was definitely a rough watch, but what could we do? What could we do? Injury struck at the worst time possible. All right, so trackies, on to the final event that we were in. And this is where I'm gonna say, you know what? I don't know if I go up mount me have or me probably I go to the athlete them. Me not sure what I go on because at this particular point things are playing out exactly how I said they were gonna play out. But I'm not happy. I'm not happy with it, Rockies, because I'm thinking that these are all things that could be prevented if we did the right. You know what I mean? But anyway, so in the women's 4 by 100 meters, remember I said this team is already qualified, so we made it to the finals. Regardless of our placing, we are heading to the World Championships in this event. Now, they added Natasha Morrison to the start. So when I was wondering to myself, okay, what's going on with this mixed 4 by 1? Why did they take out Natasha? Because they put her here. So I was like, okay, cool. Right. And then they added, well, they didn't add, but they switched Tina to actual third and then took off Tia, which was an interesting choice to me. So it was Natasha Morrison to Shelly Fraser Price to Tina Clayton to Shericka Jackson. And this team ended up third. Third. So silver, not silver, sorry, bronze medal. So congratulations to the athletes, bronze medal, and they ran a 42.33 seconds, which was a season's best. Okay, trackies. This is where, as I said, T. Gordamo strikes again when it comes to this whole shindig that is going on. Now, they switched Tina and put her on third and put Natasha on first. I would not have put Natasha on first and put Tina on third. We've seen how Tina runs the relays. All these years we've watched her run relays. She ran a really good leg, but because she keeps adjusting the baton, I have never really thought she's actually best suited for any middle of any relay because she keeps adjusting. So from a junior perspective, when she was competing for Team Jamaica, you would typically see her on the back stretch. And if you remember those relays as well, I'm thinking even for Edwin Allen, she was on the back stretch, right? You would see her continuously taking the baton from Serena Cole and adjusting mid-race, right? And for those type of athletes, you really want to put them where they don't have to be adjusting any buttons, which is the start. And Natasha Morrison is good enough to run a curve. You know what I mean? So I thought that was a slight misjudgment in terms of where to put the athlete. Definitely thought, and Natasha has enough experience. So I don't think this is down to an experience thing. I think they just blundered when it came to their decision making on putting Tina on third. They should have left Tina on start and put Natasha on third. I think that would have been a better um, race pattern. And Shelly Fraser Price did her thing on the back stretch. Shericka Jackson gets the baton, with Spain and USA. Maybe Spain is a little bit ahead. USA is probably dead in line, maybe a little bit with Jamaica, and Great Britain is behind a little bit. Okay, so checkers, I just realized that actually we see Spain ahead and Jamaica a little bit in line with Great Britain. I do think Great Britain was a little behind, but still right at pretty much level. And then USA was the ones that were actually, in fourth place, given the structure that I'm talking about here. But yes, continue. Right. And track is yesterday I said, God forbid, we're gonna see Shericka get run down on an anchor leg. And that's literally what we saw. The great British athlete, Success Eduan, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing her name, stormed past everybody. So remember I said it was Spain that was leading a little on the anchor leg, and then Jamaica and USA were probably a little bit level, and then Great Britain was a little bit behind them. But watching, and this is no disrespect again to any of these athletes. So we have on the anchor leg a Success Idiwan from Great Britain. We have the same Maria Perez from Spain. And, Tanisha Terry isn't a no name, but you know what I mean? In comparison to Shericka Jackson, we're not going to have this debate about who is a better athlete at all. So I'm not expecting no athlete, I don't care who you are, in this structure to run down a Shericka Jackson. And that is literally what happened. So the Great British team end up winning the women's 4 by 1. Spain second because of course we weren't able to make any inroads on Spain. And USA was around there in third. But considering that, Team USA team wasn't even strong, the first three legs, I was actually impressed that they were able to hand over the baton in line with Jamaica, given again that I think that Jamaica has a stronger team. Those first three legs are considerably stronger, in my opinion, than a Team America. Yet Team America was able to hand off with us when it came to the changeover on the final leg. And I think the reason for that is mainly because, again, the stretching of the zones. America does a better job of doing that over Jamaica. But again, this is where we really start after looking at ourselves now. On the take on a personal feelings out of this, I love a Shericka Jackson. Shericka Jackson is Jamaican. When she's competing, I am screaming because I want her to always win. This is how I treat all my Jamaicans. You know what I mean? But sometimes we just have to look and know, say, understand, say, some people are not suited for certain legs. And I think I saw a particular post online. I'm going to quote it. I'm not going to post it because maybe the person don't want to load up the thing. So I'm not going to really post the comment. But the person said, have been on the 4x1 relay anchor leg for so many years and still saying that you can't hand over a baton, which is why you're on the relay, is not a flex. It's like this person saying a dog ate my homework. So you turn up at school and the teacher asks you, say, what your homework there? And you say, dog name it. Really? Nobody now believe that. So at this particular point in time, this is going on for too long. We should be able to look at this now and say to ourselves that this anchor leg is not working out. You know what I mean? It's not working out, and nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. We want to put out the best team out there. So these athletes should be able to move around without any fuss. I'm looking at all the athletes that move around without no fuss. Me see one year, I think of 2022. Then take Shelly and put Shelly on third. When I saw that track is, me almost lose my mind. Mr. Shelly and Fraser Price on third. Shelly has to be on a straight. Whichever straight you want to put her upon, whether it's a back straight or an ankle leg. And I told you all the reason why I don't put Shelly on ankle leg. If I had another Shelly, then I would put Shelly on anchor. But I don't have another Shelly. And right now we need somebody to anchor the team, right? In terms of making sure that the baton is passed around successfully without falling behind. And the only person that can do that right now on the back stretch is a Shelly and Fraser Price. I trust nobody else to get that job done, which is why Shelly and Fraser Price, for me personally, when I construct a relay, stays on the back stretch. That being said, I've been seeing these athletes being willing to move around just to make it work. Why is Shericka Jackson not willing to move around to make it work? I think that's a big question. That's a big question right now. And I am disappointed. We were third. Congratulations to them, but me disappointed. Me disappointed bad. So me don't know how we're gonna take this. Me don't know if we're not gonna come in the comment section, can trace me out. It is what it is. But we need to fix this going forward, because when you look at that team USA, we not come with nobody other than 20 shot Terry. I think I said it right this time. Right? A Great Britain with half of the team no did it. Or more than half of the team no did it. What are we doing? What are we really doing at this particular point in time? Jackies, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you on the next one.